At the school concert, my sister's kids held up a sign that said, "Crying is not singing," right behind my daughter. The class laughed. Even the teacher smiled. My sister leaned over and said, "Come on, it is just a joke. Do not overreact." I smiled. That night, I simply reviewed the funding allocated to her daughters and submitted one form. At 6:13 a.m., she texted, "Why is the principal asking to meet with me?" I sent a screenshot of the sign captioned, "I remembered the sign." My name's Courtney. I'm 36. I do numbers for a small nonprofit that funds arts programs in public schools. It's not glamorous, but I like clean spreadsheets and clear rules. I'm also a single mom to an 8-year-old named Noah, who keeps a green stuffed dinosaur under her pillow and sings when she's nervous. Friday night was the spring concert. The cafeteria smelled like floor wax and popcorn. Folding chairs scraped the linoleum. Parents lifted their phones like tiny moons. The paper banner over the stage said, "Let your voice be heard," and letters drooped a little at the end. Noah had a short solo, 8 bars she'd practiced at our kitchen table until her throat got tight. Sometimes the notes cracked and she cried and then hiccuped and tried again. I told her that meant she cared. "Crying is allowed," I said. "We keep going anyway." My sister Julia sat 2 rows ahead in a blazer that looked expensive in a way you're supposed to notice. Her daughters Ava and Mia were in the front row of the choir because, of course, they were. They're the little stars. People say it like a brand. The lights dimmed. Miss Porter, the choir director, did her whole bright smile routine. "We're so proud," she said into the mic. Everyone clapped, even though nothing had happened yet. The kids shuffled on. Noah glanced at me from the risers, searching, and I gave her the thumbs up. We practiced. She took a breath. Then 2 neon pink poster boards rose up at the back of the room like flags. Black block letters, clean lines, the kind of handwriting you make slowly with a ruler. "Crying is not singing." Held high, held by my nieces, held directly behind my daughter. For a second, my brain didn't compute. Then the sound hit. A quick burst of laughter, the kind that spreads because laughter spreads. A dad snorted. A kid whispered, "Look." A mom tilted her phone to get the sign in frame. Miss Porter looked up and smiled. Not big. A twitch at the mouth, like an approval stamp. Noah missed her cue by a beat. Swallowed. Tried again. The first note wobbled like a bicycle tire over gravel. She kept going. I sat absolutely still because I know how this works. If I stand up, I'm making a scene. If I stay, my kid is alone in it. Julia leaned back just enough for her perfume to hit me. "Come on," she whispered. "It's just a joke. Don't overreact." Her teeth flashed. I felt something in my jaw lock. Noah finished. Polite applause. Programs rustled. The sign dipped out of sight like a trapdoor closing. I watched my kid look for me again. I made my face soft, clapped, mouthed, "Good job," and wanted to tear cardboard with my teeth. After the hallway plugged with kids in white shirts and black shoes that pinched, I hugged Noah. She pressed her forehead into my chest for half a second like she could recharge there. "Did you see the sign?" she asked in a small voice. "I saw you," I said, "and I heard you." She nodded like she wanted to believe. That could be enough. Julia floated over with her phone still up. "Ava and Mia crushed it," she said to no one, then to Noah. "Good job, buddy." Then to me, light and kind, the way you talk to a dog that doesn't jump. "Seriously, don't make this a thing." I smiled. It felt like a crack in glass. We went home. Noah fell asleep with the dinosaur tucked under her chin. I stood in the kitchen with the program folded in my fist and listened to the fridge hum. No yelling, no texts, no forms, just a quiet I hadn't felt in a long time. The kind that happens right before you draw a line you should have drawn years ago. The joke wasn't random, it was the last beat on a string. Julia and I grew up in a house where "don't overreact" meant "don't make me look at what I did." If she teased and I protested, I was sensitive. If I went quiet, she won. Our parents liked peace. Peace meant me swallowing it. I became useful early. After Dad left, I helped with bills, fixed the leaky sink, took the weekend shift at the grocery store, and the night shift in the campus computer lab. Julia was the fun one. The stories about her were always big. She lit up the room. She has a sparkle. I was the steady one. The story about me was, She'll figure it out. When Julia had Ava and Mia, useful became permanent. She called me Aunt Courtney, the lifesaver, and then put me on every auto pay. It's just until I get ahead, she said. Piano lessons started, then voice lessons, gymnastics, shoes for competition, matching hair bows that cost more than Noah's sneakers. If I hesitated, Mom said, "She's raising 2 girls. You know how hard that is." If I said yes, I got a thumbs up emoji in the family group chat and a bill the next week. I work at a nonprofit that gives microgrants to arts programs. I know the rules. Conflict of interest, transparency, receipts. I'm the one who emails the PTA treasurer at Noah's school to ask for their 990s and cheer when someone labels a line item correctly. I follow process because process keeps people honest. Julia loves that I do money. She says it like I carry a portable bank. "Can you just submit that reimbursement for me?" Ugh, the forms. Can't you shuffle the PTA budget to cover the risers? You know how to make numbers behave. The girls' teacher takes payments on Venmo now. "Just throw it on yours. I'll square up." She never squared up. I told myself it wasn't for her. It was for the kids. I told myself Noah would benefit too because I was building a school where art mattered, and she did in tiny ways. New markers in the classroom, a better keyboard in the music room. But every time the month ran tight and Noah asked about guitar lessons and I said maybe in summer, I felt something pinch. There were other things, the subtle stuff that sits in the corners and molds. At rehearsal, when Noah cried once because the room felt like too many eyes, Miss Porter called it a learning opportunity about resilience. When Ava skipped a run-through for a smoothie, it was self-care. When Mia rolled her eyes at a classmate's off-key note, Miss Porter laughed and said, "You're not wrong. Kids repeat what they hear." A boy in Noah's class told her in the pickup line, "My mom says, you're too emotional for choir." Noah looked at her shoes while she told me, voice flat. I said the grown-up thing. Sometimes people repeat things that aren't true, and I wanted to scream into a pillow where no one would hear me. 2 weeks before the concert, Julia texted a photo of glitter and markers spread across her table. "Poster time," she wrote, with 10 sparkles. "Raising women who speak their minds." The corner of a neon pink board peeked out. I sent a thumbs up and didn't zoom in. 3 nights before the concert, Noah cried at dinner because she missed the high note alone in our kitchen. She hugged the dinosaur with one arm and kept singing with the other. I could hear her small voice trying to be brave. I could not hear anything funny about it. Money wrapped itself around all of this like ivy. Every month, my bank app showed the story. $85 per week to a vocal coach, Ms. P, recommended for Ava and Mia. $38 per month for a keyboard rental at Julia's house because their old one was too plasticky. $150 for a spring clinic everyone was doing. $60 here for costumes because the first pair of black shoes were the wrong black. $200 toward the regional trip because Julia said, "It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Courtney, and you work for an arts nonprofit. You of all people should get it." Meanwhile, Noah and I shared Netflix with commercials, and I told her, commercials build character. When I told Mom any of this, she tilted her head and said the sentence she saves for me. "You're so good with money. You can handle it." It sounds like praise. It's a leash. You might ask, why didn't you say no? I did sometimes in tiny ways, the kind that don't stick. I paused one auto pay for a month and Julia called, crying that the coach had humiliated her in front of the other moms by asking about payment. I put the plan back on. I told myself I was protecting the girls from adult mess, even if the adult mess kept walking into the room wearing a blazer and lip gloss. Then, this year, Noah wanted voice lessons of her own. She asked softly, like a kid who has been trained to read the room. "If we can't," she said, "it's okay." I said, "We'll see." I meant it and also didn't know how, because savings only stretch so far when you're the safety net for a household that isn't yours. That night, after this concert, when the house got quiet and the dinosaur snored against Noah's cheek, I stood at the sink and understood the thing I'd been pretending not to know. I was paying for children who had learned that my kids' fear was a joke, and I was paying the salary of the joke. Morning made me a boulder. Maybe it was sleep. Maybe it was rage with a seatbelt on. I made oatmeal with the extra cinnamon Noah likes. She hummed the melody under her breath, testing a note like you test a loose tooth. My phone buzzed on the counter, then again, then again. I flipped it over. Julia, why is the principal asking to meet with me? Julia, answer your phone. Julia, if you did something over a joke, you've lost it. I scrolled to last night's photo. The neon letters. My daughter's head right in front of them. I sent it with 3 words under it. I remembered the sign. Julia, you're unbelievable. Julia, you could have talked to me. Julia, are you trying to get my daughter suspended? Me. I'm trying to keep my daughter safe. 30 seconds. Then my mother jumped in like a ref who missed the first half. Mo, Courtney, call your sister. This is a misunderstanding. The misunderstanding was over. The school email came at 8:11 a.m. Parent meeting incident at spring concert. Principal Chavez, Miss Porter, Courtney. In a separate thread, Julia Slot an hour later told me what I needed to know. They weren't going to let her steer this with volume. I dropped Noah out of Friends for Minecraft and walked into a room that smelled like whiteboard markers. Dr. Chavez had the posture of a person who has diffused many ridiculous adult fires. Miss Porter looks small in a way she never looks on stage. Miss Courtney, thank you for coming, Dr. Chavez said. I read your report. I slid my phone across the table. This is what my daughter was looking at. Miss Porter winced. I didn't read it from where I was, she said fast. You smiled, I said. Color rose. It was a nervous reaction. Dr. Chavez didn't waste time. Were students told not to bring signs? Yes, Miss Porter said. Were the students holding the sign reminded after the number? After, she said. I repeated it. Dr. Chavez looked at me. I'm sorry this happened. We'll address it under our policy. I don't want public shaming. I want adults to act like adults, I said. We will, she said. It was said like a promise, not a performance. We discussed practical things. Seating changes at lunch for a week, a counselor check-in, an alternate rehearsal space if Noah wanted it. When we were done, Miss Porter asked quietly, Does Noah still want to sing at the end of your assembly? She does, I said, but she doesn't want a mic right up in her face. She nodded. We can do that. I stepped into the hallway and met Julia coming down it like a storm front, sunglasses on top of her head, phone in hand like a weapon. What did you say? They use the word policy with me like I'm a criminal. Hi, I said. The principal will explain. You filed a report. She planted herself in front of me over a poster. They didn't even put her name on it. They didn't need to, I said. They stood behind her. It was funny, she said, finally dropping the nice voice. Everyone laughed, even Ms. Porter. Everyone didn't, I said. And even if they did, jokes only count when everyone's laughing. You think you're better because you pay for everything? She snapped. Because you sit on your little board and sign checks. You think that makes you a parent? She's soft, Courtney. I'm trying to teach her. Don't talk about my daughter like that, I said. Calm, not loud. Not ever again. She leaned in, lower voice now, searching for a bruise. You're nothing without us. The school listens to me. People like me. People like you, I repeated. Got it. She flung open the conference room door. It hit the stopper with a bang. They'll see through you, she threw over her shoulder. They always do. I exhaled and felt the floor under my shoes. Solid. From the parking lot, the family group chat lit up like a pinball machine. Mo, your sister is devastated. Awenti, what happened? I heard some crazy story. Julia didn't know the difference or didn't care. He wants my girls expelled. Not true. I attached one photo, the sign, no caption. Then I did the thing that terrified me and also set me free. I opened my personal spreadsheet, took a screenshot of the totals with names blacked out, and posted that too. Me, 12 months, $7,842 to your kids' lessons, rentals, clinics, costumes. Years before that too. This ends today, not to punish, to protect. Silence. Then the pivot I knew would come. Julia, what will happen to us? Not the girls, us. Me, you'll parent your kids. I'll parent mine. At 6:13 a.m. the next day, another text from Julia. Why is the principal asking to meet with me? I sent the screenshot again. I remembered the sign. Then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and made pancakes shaped like dinosaurs because Noah thinks that's hilarious. Consequences arrived like weather fronts. Some fast, some slow. The school moved first. Ava and Mia met with the counselor. They wrote apology notes. One was a sentence with a smiley face. The other said, "We didn't think." Noah folded them both once, put them in her backpack, and didn't bring them up again. I didn't make her. Dr. Chavez sent a message to the choir list. No signs at performances. We aim for an inclusive environment. It was bland on purpose. But at the next rehearsal, I watched Miss Porter stop a snicker with one look and say, "We are here to support each other," and mean it. She crouched to Noah's height later and said, "You have a beautiful tone." She stared at the floor and nodded. Trust takes longer than an email. The PDA president called to make sure I hadn't used my nonprofit role to target a family. I invited her to the office. I printed policies. I showed recusal forms. I opened the ledger. "If there's a line I shouldn't have touched, flag it," I said. She couldn't. We added new guardrails anyway. No officers submit reimbursements for family. No autopays to members. Everything through the official email. Boring fixes that matter. Money changed the house most. The minute I stopped funding a second family, my life got quiet. The first month, I had enough left to sign Noah up for a beginner voice class with a gentleman named Mr. Lee, who tapped a pencil to help with rhythm and said, "The note is a place you land, not a cliff." Noah loved him. She practiced without crying. When her voice cracked, she laughed. I did too. We bought a used karaoke mic for the living room. We ate burritos on Tuesdays and made a rule that whoever hit the high note got the last bite of guacamole. She usually won. I let her. Julia did what Julia does. Facebook posts about weaponizing bureaucracy, Instagram stories with Bible verses about forgiveness, a long text to me that began, "You have always resented me," and ended, "You destroyed my daughter's dreams." I blocked her for a week and slept through the night for the first time in months. The practical hits piled up on her end. The coach emailed for payment. The rental company sent a past due notice. The music app stopped working on her phone. She texted, "You're really doing this to them?" I replied, "I stopped doing this for you." A cousin messaged me privately, "I thought you were stingy. Now I see they used you. That one I read twice. Not everyone approved." My mother called every few days with new angles. "You've divided the family. This is not what your father would want. Money shouldn't be a weapon." I said the same thing each time. It's not a weapon. It's a boundary. She asked to meet alone. We sat in a diner with sticky menus. "Your sister is hurt," she started. "So is my kid," I said. "I'm not excusing the sign." "It was wrong," she said, swallowing something sharp. "But cutting them off." The timing. The timing was when I finally noticed I was paying for what hurt my daughter. "You've always been generous," she said. "I still am." "Just not in ways that teach Noah I'll fund her humiliation," I said. She stirred her tea. She didn't drink. "You've changed." "I stopped pretending," I said. When the bill came, I paid. Not because I always do, because I wanted to leave that conversation clean. At school, small votes of confidence showed up quietly. A dad I barely know said, "Good for you." A mom told her son that if he ever held a sign like that, he'd lose his phone for a month. Another said, "We saw. I'm sorry. None of it fixes it. It told me I wasn't crazy." 2 weeks later, Miss Porter asked if Noah still wanted the assembly solo. She didn't ask me. She asked her directly. She said yes, but no microphone in her face. She practiced with Mr. Lee and made a face at her own reflection when she hit the note clean. She called it her soft landing. The assembly was a Tuesday morning. The gym was too bright. I stood in the back because you can breathe better there. No signs, just phones. Before the first song, Dr. Chavez said, "Every student deserves to feel safe when they share their voice." It hung in the air like a new rule. Noah sang her 8 bars. Her voice wobbled once, then steadied. She didn't look for me until the end. When she did, she didn't ask. She knew. We got mint chip ice cream afterward. Even though it was 9:45 a.m., she went to school with green teeth and a smile. On the way home, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't have. "Hi," the text said. "I'm Mia's friend's mom. I just wanted to say thank you for speaking up. My daughter thinks crying is weak. Last week, she told me she tried to hold her breath to stop tears. Your daughter's singing anyway helped." I didn't post that. I didn't send it to the group chat. I just read it 3 times, put the phone face down on the counter, and stood there for a minute, breathing like I'd been running, and finally stopped. Here's what I know now. In the plainest words, I can manage. If you call cruelty a joke, you get to keep doing it. The laugh is the permission slip. If you pay for the joke, you become part of the punchline. I spent years being useful in the wrong direction. I told myself I was helping kids. I was. But I was also making it easy for an adult to be lazy with love and loud with blame. The sign didn't start that. It only made it impossible to lie to myself about it. Ending it didn't require a speech. It required a form, a screenshot, a canceled autopay, and one decision I keep making each morning. My kid goes first. Julia and I don't talk now. That might change. It might not. Her daughters are fine. They still sing. They still roll their eyes at everything. I hope they learn that clever can be kind. If they don't, I hope someone else draws a line sooner than I did. Miss Porter watches the room differently. She stops small meannesses before they get big. I don't need her to like my daughter. I need her to be the adult in the room. She can do that. Dr. Chavez already does. The PDA added boring rules that will outlast our drama and help a kid whose mom doesn't work with spreadsheets. That matters more than any apology ever will. My mother still wants a version of together. That means I pay and shut up. I told her what together looks like at my table. No jokes that land on kids. No guilt disguised as tradition. No bills slid under my door with a, you know how it is. If we can do that, we can share holidays. If we can't, we won't. The world won't end. It'll just be quieter. Noah still cries sometimes when she practices. Sometimes I do too. At the sink with the water running. Crying didn't ruin her voice. It taught her where the air is. She knows how to breathe. That's what singing is. Breathing on purpose. Last week, she asked out of nowhere, "Do you remember the sign?" "I remember everything," I said. She nodded. "I don't think about it when I sing now." That's the win. Not that I won a group chat argument. Not that someone I'll never meet texted. Thanks. The win is an 8-year-old girl opening her mouth in a loud room and letting something honest out without flinching, because the person who loves her most chose her over politeness, over peace, over being liked. Crying is not singing, the poster said. Here's the reply I'm teaching her. Crying isn't singing, and it isn't not singing. It's a human being telling the truth about how hard it is to be brave sometimes. The sound that matters is the one you make after, the one you make because someone held the line for you while you found it. I will not be the bank that buys my daughter's shame. I will not let "don't overreact" talk me out of protecting her. I will keep paying for what builds her. I will stop paying for what breaks her. The only sign I keep now is on a sticky note in wobbling pencil on our fridge. Mom, crying is okay. Singing is too. That's the policy. That's the budget. That's the whole story.